friends, welcome back. Today is our wedding etiquette, wedding peeves, all things
for the bride and guests
when it comes to going to a wedding. The do's, basically it's more the don'ts. This is more of the don'ts for when you're going to a wedding. And this is all our personal opinions. I mean, yes, there's specific wedding etiquette that most people expect you to follow.
Right.
But people just don't seem to realize that anymore. So
people just kind of think that they can do whatever they want. That the bride isn't spending a lot of money,
so it doesn't matter. And even if the bride says it's okay to do something, like,
it's generally
it's
not.
still not. Like,
and you know,
okay, we've got a list. We've got a list that's basically for guests, and then there's a few things that are like our tips for brides.
right.
And then like maybe bridal party or whatever. But this is more of just, if you're going to a wedding anytime soon, which I'm sure everybody has at least one to attend in the next year or two. These are just some tips to keep in mind.
These are the things that are going to make the bride and groom, possibly the parents of the said couple, hate you less.
Yes. Yes.
The photographers.
We're saving you judgment. And it's not, I'm not saying that we judge people, but like, okay.
We just see a lot of questionable things.
Yes. And this is a big day for somebody. I'm not saying that, I mean, it's the most important, one of the most important days in somebody's life. And do you really want to be that person that they remember for something negative, I guess? So, here we go. Number one, if they say it's an unplugged wedding, that means you don't take pictures.
Regardless of if you want to.
Right.
You don't.
And it's unplugged for a number of reasons, usually. One, they don't want your camera and cell phone being seen in the pictures that we take.
Right.
As photographers, that's our job. Like, that's what we're hired to do. That's why we're there.
Right.
But when I take a picture of the bride and groom kissing for the first time, and all you can see is 70 cell phones all along the edge, and somebody with an iPad in the front row, like...
Or when I'm following the bride down the aisle to get the picture that she requests, and I have people that as soon as she's passed, they're walking out in the aisle.
Yeah.
That's frustrating because you're preventing me from doing my job, especially when they say it's unplugged. You don't just get to do what you want.
Right. And the unplugged thing also comes down to not just taking pictures during the ceremony, but also, like, you snapping that picture and posting during, you know what I mean? Like, give them a chance to post something first for their wedding, or give them a chance to at least be married before you're posting things on social media. Like, it says something if you're posting a picture of their wedding during their wedding. Like, that's not, you know.
You need to be more present anyways.
Right. So if it says unplugged, they have the best intentions. They're not doing it to be mean. They're not doing it, but let's be real. What are you going to do with those pictures on your cell phone?
That's what I'm saying.
Look back. You're not going to print them out and hang them on your wall. Like, it's not, you know, it is what it is. Also, when it comes to photographers taking pictures,
like family pictures.
Like the family pictures. Don't be that person that I'm literally bumping into because you're trying to take pictures right next to me. You're going to get those pictures. I'm going to post a link with all of the pictures in it, and so will any other photographer for a wedding, so you'll be able to see those and have the nice professional prints.
Right.
Like, it's a respect thing. Like, I'm hired to be there to take these specific pictures, and it's hard for us when we're bumping into family members who are trying to take pictures with their cell phones over our shoulders, or stepping in front of us to take the picture. Just because you think we're done doesn't mean we are.
Or having their phone resting on our shoulders.
Right.
I've had people breathing down my neck.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to keep your cool and composure when you're trying to work when you have that.
Right. Also, since we feel so passionately about this, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Haley.
And with the sister effect, obviously. But on our weekends, this is my job. I'm a wedding photographer in general, and clearly we feel extremely passionate about.
We've got a lot to say about weddings.
We do. We absolutely do. So, next up,
send your RSVPs back. You don't get them in an invitation just for the hell of it.
Just to hang in your fridge.
Yeah, like
there's a reason.
They need to go back. Your bride and groom have a count. They're spending a lot of money. They need to know if you're going to be there, so they're paying for your seat. And you're getting a free meal out of this. The least you can do is send an RSVP back.
But not only that, like, if you're not going, just tell them you're not going.
Right.
Don't be that person. They paid for the postage, most likely, or it's online to make it even easier for you. Just send the damn thing back. It's not that hard. And it's frustrating because I do a final consult with brides at, okay, fair warning everybody, Haley and I are...
Like right below what you see is a 2-year-old in her pajamas eating a fruit snack.
Yeah, so this is life. So if you hear a little bit of giggling, that's why. But it's hard when I do my 6-week or, 4-week consult with the bride and groom before the wedding, and they're saying how frustrated they are because they're still waiting on 75 RSVPs back, and it's people that they expect to show up, but how do you know? Like,
Right.
you can't just assume. And going off of that, don't RSVP and then not show up.
Right.
Like, absolutely. Circumstances happen, things happen. I've done it a time or two before, and I felt awful about it. I know things come up. Can you go throw that in the trash? Thank you. I know things come up, but, like...
You know what? It doesn't take much to send the
A text
bride,
message.
the groom, the parents, the friends, whoever, a text message saying you're not going to be there.
But not only that, like, if you have a feeling that you're not going to be there, or you know weeks in advance after you've already sent the RSVP in, let them know.
Right.
So they're not counting you in that count, or they're not putting you in a seating chart
Right.
when, there's other people that, could be sitting in a certain spot or whatever.
Right.
And going off that, just because you're invited, if you're not married, that doesn't mean you bring your neighbor with you.
My biggest thing in weddings is I also do custom wedding invitations, and it's always a struggle of the bride and groom of how they make sure people don't come that aren't invited.
Right.
Comes down to this. If your name is not on, or if you do not have a guest written on the envelope, you don't get to bring a guest. You don't just get to say, well, I'm RSVPing for 2, but you were invited for just 1.
Right. Look at the front of the envelope. Whoever the envelope is addressed to
Right.
is most likely who's invited.
Right.
If it says Mr. and Mrs. blah blah blah, then it's the 2 of you. If it says Mr. and Mrs. blah 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 and family, then you bring your family. If it says Mrs. blah and guest,
Then you can bring a guest.
or also, y'all, I know everybody's so excited to see the bride, but that doesn't mean that you try to sneak into whatever room she's in to see her before she goes down the aisle.
Dude, I would have punched someone.
Well, here's the thing. I can't tell you how many times we have people trying to sneak into the door when we're coming out to see the bride. I just want to stop in and say hi. I'm sure she wants to see you. There's a reason that you're invited to the wedding. There's a reason that you're there. But
I'd be really mean.
hang on a second. Let me just finish this before you go and get all serious on this here for a second. It's stressful. Walking down the aisle in front of all these people, standing up in front of everybody saying your vows. I mean, you're marrying the person that you love, but it's still a stressful situation.
Right.
And seeing your, great Aunt Jean that you haven't seen in 3.5 years, but you had to invite, her trying to bust into the room to see you, and then you have that awkward it's just not nice. Just wait to see her. If you bump into her somehow before the ceremony, great. But don't try to ambush her room that she's getting ready in to try to see her before she walks down the aisle, when chances are 7.5 minutes from now you're going to see her anyways. Go ahead.
What the hell makes you think you're so special that you get to see the bride beforehand when no one else does?
This is true.
That's all I have to say. Think about it.
Right.
It's the bride's day, not your day.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of harsh about this, aren't we? But it's the truth. It's honestly the truth. I mean,
Because I bite my tongue for so many weekends.
Right.
I get to say what I want right now.
this is very true. All right. This is something we both feel very, very passionately about. Very passionately about. Guys, there's a dress code when you go to a wedding. I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if this is something new for you.
I don't know what rock you've been living under if you don't know that.
Okay, but some things have changed because in the past, wedding etiquette used to be no black and no white. Now, girl, if you got a little black dress, rock it. Right, more power to you. But under zero circumstances do you wear a white or a cream or a light ivory dress to a wedding. If it's the main color of the dress, you do not wear it. I don't care if the bride is wearing blush. I don't care if the bride is wearing red. It's a respect thing. Like, it's just...
And there are people that will argue us on this.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like I said, this is our opinion, but this
Right.
is also the general consensus. Like, you don't want to be the person wearing white to a wedding that everybody's talking about because you're the disrespectful asshole that decided to wear it.
Right.
Just saying. Like, it's just... We're not saying this to be jerks. We're saying this to help you out.
Right.
Like, think about it. Would you want somebody to wear, like, a long white maxi dress to your wedding when you're wearing a long white silky wedding dress that's not poofy and flow? You know what I mean? But, like, at quick glance, they could think you're the same person. Like,
Right.
That's not cool. And it's not... I mean, it is about not up showing that, like, you know, looking better than the bride, because that's pretty much impossible. That's their day. Like,
Right.
they look stunning always.
Right.
But it's just a respect thing. And I know from some research that I've done on, like, wedding etiquette, in the past, it used to be, like, if the bride's not wearing heels, don't wear heels, so that you're not taller than the bride, because the bride's supposed to be the tallest person, but, like, that kind of shit's just, like, whatever.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. But, stemming from the white, you don't wear white, you don't wear jeans,
You don't wear hats.
nothing with a hood,
Right.
nothing of sweatshirt material, no type of tennis shoes is ever acceptable for a wedding. I don't care if it's a backyard wedding, I don't care if you're just going to the reception, it doesn't matter. Like,
You
this,
can find some cute sandals.
and guys, buy a cheap pair of dress shoes. Go to Goodwill. Like, it's not that hard. But it's just, if they're spending over $40 per plate or over $20 per plate for food, like...
Put some damn nice shoes on, would ya?
Yeah. Like, okay, so what do we have right now? Also, you're going to a wedding, not the club. So, I'm
the
all
girls.
for showing a little cleavage, like, you know, tastefully. But if these things are going to knock you in the face, if you try to do, like, the Cupid shuffle, you need to rethink your outfit.
Right.
If your ass is going to fall out when you jump up to grab the bouquet when she does the bouquet toss, I can't tell you how many shots I have of girls' hoo-has. Thank God they were wearing underwear when they're going for the bouquet.
If you have to take a step and hold your dress so it doesn't come up, your dress is too damn short. Your mom should not be letting you out of the house like that, even to go to the club, because have some respect.
But it's like, there's a time and a place, and someone's wedding is not that place. Is not that place. So, that being said, this is just our personal opinion. Don't shoot the messengers. We're just saying.
Well, don't shoot the messengers, but this is really...
This is just what we see often. I mean, I am to the point now where I've shot over 200 weddings, and I've seen a lot. A lot. And we're telling you this from the best parts of our heart to not let you be that person, you know? So, we made it through the ceremony. We're on to the reception. The newest trend is now cupcakes. So, there's no longer waiting for the cake to be cut to have dessert, which is great. It's one less step to have to worry about.
Well, kind of there is. I mean, most brides and grooms will have cupcakes, but they still have a small cake.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that the cutting of the cake, I'm saying, like, to be served. Like, instead of there being a big, four-tier cake, it doesn't have to be cut and served. But now, just because the cupcakes are out, doesn't mean that you have free reign to them. Until the bride and groom cut the cake, you don't get to touch the cupcakes. Or the donuts, or the dessert,
Or the cheesecake.
or any of it. And we finally had a bride and groom, they did a candy table. And I can't tell you how many times we've shown up, and we can't even take a picture of the candy table because it's completely empty.
They're like all you guests are like flies on shit.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what it's there for. It's there to be eaten. But we finally had a wedding a couple weeks ago where they actually put it out when the reception, like when the dances started.
Right.
So that way, like, people weren't flocking to it beforehand, and so that they could actually see it all set up, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So just because there's cupcakes doesn't mean that you're done eating, you can have a cupcake. You have to wait for the bride and groom to cut the cake. Like,
pause off, bucko.
Yeah, for real. Okay. Back to the ceremony. If you're gonna show up to the ceremony late, do not. There's two things that you don't do. One, you don't walk down the center aisle, and you do not sneak around the bridal party to be in front of them.
Yeah.
You wait until the processional is done and they're already up at the front of the church and nobody's paying attention to you sneaking in the back.
Right.
They're paying attention to the bride and groom up front.
Don't be an asshole.
And don't be the person that's walking down the center aisle just before that starts.
Right.
There's most likely going to be side aisles. If you have to go use the center aisle, obviously use it.
Right.
But honestly, you're better off standing in the back and waiting until you can come up the front, up and sit when people aren't paying attention.
Photographers are up there getting ready to take pictures. Sometimes there's videographers. They don't want to have to try and cut you out of their video because you're walking down the aisle in between the grandparents, parents, and the bridal party.
Right. Okay, bridal party. This one's for you. If you are in a wedding anytime soon, or ever, or whatever, for the love of God, do not get drunk. Like annihilated drunk before dinner.
If you're so drunk that you're sitting at the table and you can't keep your eyes open,
Yeah.
or
Give your speech, or even walk in without biffing it. Do your like, they asked you to be in the bridal party because they love you and they want you to be a part of their day. If they're annihilated, that's on them. That's good. It's their day. They can do whatever the hell they want to.
Although we don't recommend getting annihilated before
right.
dinner for the bride and groom either, but
Right.
whatever.
But still. But you agree to be in the bridal party, to be part of the party, but you also have a responsibility, and that is to be there for them. And once the dances are, like, once they start their first dance, all bets are off.
Right.
Go balls to the wall and drink all you want.
Right.
But don't be the person that's taking away from the maid of honor and best man speeches or the toast or any part of that, because people are so focused on the fact of, are we going to have to give that girl a pitcher to puke into during the
Oh, that's what I was just thinking about.
Are you going to have to give them something to puke into during the speeches because you think she might spew all over the place? Like,
honestly, I don't think I took one picture of the speeches during that because I was so concerned about the girl who I could see turning more and more green as the seconds went on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've seen it all, and shit happens. We understand that.
Right.
Like, we've been there, but it's just something to keep in mind. Like I said, these are just.
Wait, we've been there. I've never been there.
Whatever. Okay. So, brides, there's just a few, there's plenty of things we could go on and rant about for brides to remember when it comes to, wedding etiquette. But these are just a few quick things to come to mind because, like I said, we could talk about this all day long.
Yep.
But one big thing is to keep in mind, if you're going to invite someone to, this is where it comes down to, inviting people. You can invite whoever the hell you want to your wedding. It's your day. You're paying for it most likely or whatever. This is your day.
Right.
But have some respect when it comes to this. Do not invite somebody to a shower or to the bachelorette party or to the engagement party if you don't intend on inviting them to the wedding.
Right.
It's just mean.
It's greedy. I mean,
and people might not even think about it that way. I know if you are expecting somebody to be out of town, still send them an invitation. It's just a respect thing.
right.
But just keep those things in mind. Because it can almost be hurtful and you don't want to have that conversation. You don't want that negativity, wrapped around your wedding day.
And also, it's saving you some awkwardness because, so you invite them to the bachelorette party, you invite them to the bridal shower, but you don't invite them to the wedding. Mm-hmm. Well, they've been to two of your wedding events,
right?
And they don't get an invitation. Then you get that awkward encounter of, hey, I haven't got my invitation in the mail. Is it lost? Well, then what the hell do you say? Are you really going to be that person that says, oh, sorry, you weren't invited to the actual wedding?
Right. Don't put anybody in a situation where they even have to ask that. I mean, I've heard the stories and, the third cousin twice removed who was like, when am I going to get my invitation? And then you have to say, oh, it's just, we're limited on space. And we get that. Like,
right.
There's absolutely those situations. But, like, if it's a coworker that you see every day that you're inviting to this stuff, or you're not going to invite to the wedding because you'd rather invite a few of your friends from college, like, just keep those things in mind. That's all.
Right.
Also, if you're doing these...
We're salty about these things, too.
Well, no, mainly just this one. I mean, as your vendors, we're there working for you all day long. And it's written in my contract to provide a meal, and it's written in almost all photographers' contracts. And that's a given. Most people are like, well, you don't think we would think about that? And we appreciate that. There's been times where people are like, oh, really? We have to feed you? We've been with you for the last 7 hours, and we haven't had a chance to stop anywhere to eat or get anything to eat. I'm sorry that you have to feed us. I mean, that is also another respect thing. I guess that's kind of our word of the day.
Right.
But just don't forget to feed your vendors. Not just your photographers, but if your florist is coming to set up all the flowers, invite them to the wedding. Let them come eat and be a part of it too if they want to be. Your DJ's there all night long. Obviously, you want to feed him too.
Right.
If you have a photo booth person, feed your photo booth person. Mm-hmm. If you hired a wedding coordinator, like, I'm assuming your coordinator would know these things, but at the same time, you never know. So these are just things to keep in mind to stay in the good graces of...
You know what? We're working really hard for you to have a good day. And I'm just saying, I get hangry. I get extra tired.
And with that comes the, like, if you're doing a seating chart, don't forget to list a spot for your vendors to sit. Your DJ's most likely going to be behind the DJ booth.
Right.
But sometimes they like to put on the dinner music and they like to actually sit down and eat really quick before, instead of trying to shuffle things down with all these people watching them. And we'd like a place to be able to sit our stuff down and have a moment too, just to sit while we eat.
Right.
We've had people put us in a back room, which is fine, but at the same time, we can't see when things are happening.
Right.
Like, stick us in a back corner somewhere. We promise your guests won't even know that we're there. And if they do, like, most people like to strike up conversations with us, and we love talking to people. It's part of our job. But at the same time, like, don't forget about your vendors.
Right.
And with the seating chart comes spelling. I have a weird last name, so I'm kind of used to it. But I've heard other people kind of complain that, like, people don't pay attention. So my last name's Jenrow, starts with a J, and I'll spell it out for people. It might sound like a G, but in general, I'm just saying, people, look up the way things are spelled. This happens to me at almost every wedding, and this happens to me on mail, this happens to me all the time, so I'm used to it.
Here's the reality of it. I couldn't sleep last night because I was thinking about this.
Oh.
If you're inviting someone to a wedding, and they're our age, chances are they're going to have a Facebook, some sort of way you can look them up online. If they're invited to your wedding, we would hope that you're close enough to them that you know how to spell their names. If you're unsure, it's not hard to hop onto Facebook and type it in to see if you can find the right spelling of their name.
So, that pretty much concludes our list. I did remember one more thing that's a guest thing. And to most people in our generation, this is going to sound weird as hell. But to the older generation, okay. Nowadays, brides pay for their centerpieces. They usually rent the glass, or they rent their centerpieces from somewhere. They're using them from the venue. So, if you leave with a centerpiece...
You're an asshole.
Well, no, because most people that leave with the centerpieces don't know any better. It's
the older generation.
Yeah, it's what people used to do. Okay, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, the thing to do back in the day was to take the centerpieces. Like, those were technically a gift or, something to be taken home. And I think it was end of last year. It wasn't long ago.
It was last summer.
Last summer, yeah. One of the grandparents or great aunts or somebody is walking out with this big old glass vase.
It was probably one of the most beautiful centerpieces I've seen, and me and Nicole are outside taking pictures, and all of a sudden we watch this lady walk out with the centerpiece, and I'm like, dude, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Like, the bride doesn't return that. They're going to get charged for the full price of that thing, and these things aren't cheap.
Yeah. You want the flowers out of it? Sure, take the flowers, but leave the vase.
Right.
I mean, so it's just, that's not something you do anymore. So.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's interesting. So, okay, we've ranted a lot. We've had a lot to say. Like we said, these are our opinions. This is just our way of helping you out. These are things that we see every single weekend, and we don't want you to be that person.
We're really nice. We promise. We're just very passionate about this, and we've seen these things happen time and time again. So it's not like we're calling out one person.
No, not even close. And the thing is, like, I can't even, like, you say somebody wearing white or somebody wearing a cowboy hat, like, I can't even like, I just know we've seen it. I couldn't even tell you what wedding it was at this point or where things have happened. I just know that I just kind of keep, like, this mental list of the things that I'm just like, what the hell?
Right.
And, you know, these are the things we've seen. So
we should start a podcast.
We should. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. If you have wedding etiquette tips that you think that we're missing, let us know. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Leave them in a comment below. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Sister Effect and follow each of us on Instagram. And like, share, subscribe. If you have a friend getting married or if you know people going to weddings, share
and
the
you're
love.
concerned that they're going to break these.
Yeah.
Do these faux pas?
Yes. Share the love.
Be subtle about it.
Because we're far from subtle. We know this. Don't worry. We try to be as far from offensive as we possibly can, but sometimes people are just, you know, they don't always handle being told things.
Right.
But, you know, we have the best intentions at heart, and, well, it is what it is. So, have a great day. Happy wedding season, and we will see y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.